Welcome to Towns of 909, or welcome back if you are a wonderful subscriber or viewer. Me and, well, for once, not Briar, Jason, the old millennial, the man, the myth, the legend. We're going to be reviewing, if you haven't read the video already, Simon and Garfunkel's Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. Yeah. Anything you'd like to add before we start reviewing?
Yeah, it's been a while since we did our last one. I don't know if it was a couple months ago. We did the Sound of Silence, I think.
Yeah, we did the Sound of Silence. Yeah, we did the first and second album review. We did pretty close together, but then like this one, it was a while.
I was on vacation, and
and I not that I completely forgot about it. It's just I wasn't thinking about it. I was more focused on the Birch. Me and Briar were doing.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I mean, I love Thyme and Garfunkle, and every album from here on is just absolutely amazing. In my opinion. And I love the first two as well. So,
yeah, imagine if they would have made more albums.
I know. I think about that. Yeah.
Like, imagine if they had like a 1967 album, like a psychedelic 1967 album, like. I didn't really think about that, but so I was watching a YouTube video and they were saying that, like, oh, imagine if instead of like them having a big break from this album to bookends, like they actually had like a psychedelic album in between. How great that would have been.
Yeah.
Even then, just making more albums in general.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. First track on the album, Scarborough Fair, Canticle. I really call this Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme because they say it the most.
Yeah. Name
I consider this to be the title track. What do you think about it, though?
Love the song. One of my all-time favorite Simon Garfunkel songs. Very high up on it. It's got some of the greatest harmonies ever. I just absolutely love the two-part harmony here. So beautiful. Such a beautiful song. And they do so many interesting things with it. Like one person is singing one line, the other is singing a different line at the same time, and it sounds amazing how they do it. Yeah, it's an amazing song.
Yeah, this is really brilliant song to open up the record. I'd say this is this is their out of the first three albums. This is to me my favorite opener so far for Simon Garfunkel album. It takes you right into it, you know. I mean, I'm not saying Simon Sounds of Silence didn't. That also took you into it really well, but this is such a fantastic way to open up the album. Like it reminds me very similar to like Sgt. Pepper's, where it's like welcome like to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, but it's like oh Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. Like you know, I don't know. I always thought that was cool. How like the first track name the album name. I always thought that was cool. Fantastic track.
Yeah, great opener.
Next track on the album is Patterns.
This is the only song I don't like on the album. It didn't sound like a normal Simon Garfunkel song to me. It's mostly just Paul Simon, I think, but it didn't have any great harmonies in it. Not a really great melody or anything. I don't know. It was kind of a downfall compared to the first song for me.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. Okay. Normally, I'm into usually the weirder deep cuts. But
yeah,
I don't know. I actually prefer. I forgot if it was this song that was on Paul Simon's songbook album, but I prefer that version better.
Okay.
Let me check though. But yeah, I'm not as strong on it either, especially after a fantastic song like that. You know, you expect a lot more. Yeah, I was right. It's the last track on his first album. His technical first album.
Okay.
A lot of people consider that the one after it to be his first album is self-titled, but yeah, I prefer the solo version of it better. I mean, this song is also sort of a solo song, but
sounds like a solo song. Yeah.
Yeah, I always preferred Paul Simon's version of it better. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Patterns either. I actually agree with you.
Yeah. It's kind of dark. It's kind of like a dark tone to it or something.
It does. It's very weird. Very weird. Yeah. Like Paul, they would do some weird sounds on the next album, Bookends.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they did it to their benefit though. Like they made it work. But this track, not as strong. I would say it's even the weakest song on this album is still a million times better than some of the worst songs I've heard. Okay, on a better note, we get to a song called "Cloudy."
Cloudy. Man, this is one of the best hidden gem songs, I would say. Like when we did a ranking of every single Simon Garfunkel album. In fact, it might have been like one of my first collaborations with everybody. Four of us together, I think, or did yeah, I think me,
Yeah,
you,
it was either that. It was either the Simon and Garfunkel video or the Creedence Clearwater Revival ranking.
yeah, maybe, yeah, that might have been the first. I can't remember, but it seemed like it's one of the early ones where we all collaborated together, which we've collaborated a bunch together since then.
Yeah.
And it was great coming in and doing that because it allowed me to go through these albums that I really haven't gone through that detailed. And I remember going through this one when we did that ranking and just loved songs like Cloudy, where I was like, never heard this song, wouldn't know it unless I heard this album. It wasn't a radio hit or anything, but a great song. Like, I really love the song. Uh, just a great melody, great acoustic guitar playing, of course, some good harmonies here. And I just love when they do the cloudy, cloudy, or whatever. Oh, it's so wonderful. I just love when they're singing that cloudy kind of chorus or whatever. Just really nice laid back song. Just really loved it.
Yeah, it's a great song. I wasn't as big a fan of it when I first heard it, but it definitely grew on me. It's definitely,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. It's definitely a hidden gem on a
Yeah.
on a wonderful album. Whenever people think about Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme, they immediately think of the first song, Homeward Bound, of course, Feeling Groovy.
Yeah.
They go those three tracks, but
Big ones.
yeah, but there's a song like Cloudy on there, and what a great track. Speaking of Homeward Bound, that's the next track on the album.
Next one.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the great Simon Garfunkel songs. It's a big one for a reason. It's one I've loved since I was young and I was first listening to oldies music, and definitely one that really got me onto Simon Garfunkel. Again, just great harmonies here. I love the just whole lyrically really great. I just love the whole idea of being away from home and thinking about home. And I don't know if you maybe more. Like I always think about. I know he spent some time in England. I don't know if he was thinking about home then, or if they're just touring, and it could be they're just touring to different cities.
Fun fact is that Homeward Bound was going to be on the Sounds of Silence album, so it was actually included on the UK version. This album would have had 11 tracks. Like in the UK, this album has 11 tracks on it, and in the US, this one has the 12 tracks. But in the UK, this was actually released before, this album came out. And
the song did,
yeah. So maybe that. Well, I'm pretty sure that was about when he was in England, because if you thought about it, like if you thought about it being released now, then it's like, maybe he's just maybe he's thinking about it at that point. But then I'm like, oh yeah, this was originally going to be on the Sounds of Silence album, but you know how the US is with including big singles on albums. They were really like that with the UK, but for some reason they didn't want that on the album, so they limited to 11 tracks. Like imagine how, I wouldn't say much better, but imagine if the US had Homeward Bound the same time as the UK did. Oh man. Yeah. But if it's, in my opinion, if it's better on this album, but some people might argue, like people in the UK might be like, oh, if it's better on the Sounds of Silence album. But if you're like me and you, who's used to it on this record, you're gonna lean towards the Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme album. So who knows?
But yeah, I love every city seems the same to me. The something in the factories. I long to be. I don't know. I just love those lines of what is it, something about cigarettes and magazines, and I love the whole rhyming scheme he does there. Uh, and there's this cool crescendo he does where they're singing along, and he's doing the bump a bump a bump 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 a bump a bump bump bump. It kind of gets like a little bit of a crescendo right into the chorus, which is a great transition right into the I would long to be home, or like I don't know. I love how they transition from verse to chorus, and of course, great chorus. The home where I long to be. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, it's so good. And the ending of the silently for me. I mean, sounds so great. Just a wonderful song.
Yeah, you basically said what I would want to say about it. It's wonderful. I like you have to be insane to not like the song.
Yeah, yeah,
It's such a nice, easygoing song. First time I heard it was my mom introduced me to the song because I was starting to get into. I was listening to like a lot of Simon and Garfunkel, and she listened to this album, and she's the one who introduced me to this album, and yeah, what a fantastic record this is, and yeah, definitely a great song on a great album. Uh, Next track is in between two big hits. It's called the
yeah,
Big Bright Green Pleasure Machine. What an interesting name.
yeah. It is. There are a couple of long ones in this album. That's because I write them down, and I'm like, wow, this is a long title. And there's a couple of them that are like it doesn't really. Yeah, it's not a song that uh, comes off the tongue well. Like like you say, I love Cloudy. It sounds great, but I love that big bright green pleasure machine. Like
Yeah, no.
so long and wordy, but yeah, I liked it. Okay, it's more of a fast paced song, which is fine. I like some of their faster paced stuff, though. I prefer their slower, uh, more ballad stuff. And yeah, it's a fun song overall. Overall, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't one of the strongest ones on here.
Okay. I actually really like this song.
Hmm.
The most of this album really was a grower for me. This album still needs to grow on me. Like I feel like if I listen to this album more, this album will rank higher on my list. I think it's either my second or least favorite Simon and Garfunkel album. I forgot where I ranked it then, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's sort of wherever I ranked it there, it's probably gonna still be there now. I still want us to make a video on us ranking these albums. I know we already made a video on it, but that was like way long ago.
yeah,
It felt so. Not only that, but my list is going to be changed a little because I'm
yeah,
sorry. But besides my number one choice, which we both know what that one is, I
yeah.
feel like
That
the one
changed.
before it is going to be changed a little bit. Who knows? But yeah, this is a really fun song. I'm actually quite. For the most part, I really like their faster paced songs. I've always been a big fan of it. One of my favorite tracks from their last album was "We've Got a Groovy Thing Going." That was one of my favorites from that album. But I've always been a big fan of their faster paced songs, and this to me is no exception to that.
Mhm.
Speaking of hits off of it, well, I mentioned "Feeling Groovy" before, but the technical song for it, the name of it is the 59th Street Bridge song, and that closes out the first side for us.
Yeah, I don't know why they call it the 59th Street Bridge song. I think growing up, I always knew it as the Feeling Groovy song. And so it's one of those songs that I had a hard time finding the name for. I'm like, I can't find the name of the song, Feeling Groovy. And then I finally had to figure out, oh, it's the 59th Street Bridge song. And it's kind of like Bob O'Reilly. I never can remember the Bob O'Reilly's, the name of the Who song. Stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, absolutely great song. Another song I grew up listening to on the oldie station. One again, I love these easygoing songs that Simon Garfunkel does. I suppose that's why I'm such a big fan. I love the style of this. Again, feeling groovy. I mean, it says it right there. It's just a easygoing, just feeling groovy. Groovy is kind of a term they used back in the '60s. We don't really use it today, but it's such a great term to kind of to describe that feeling of just chilling, I guess, just like a chill song. And so nice, great vocals. It's kind of a short song. I almost wish it was longer, but great harmonies there. And just I love when Simon Garfunkel just don't even say words. They just hum or la la la's or something like that. It just sounds so great, and this has kind of some of that.
Yeah. What a fantastic track. When I first heard this track, I listened to it like 3 times. That's how good it was. I'm like, man, it's so good. It's only like a minute and a half.
Yeah,
I have to listen to it again. I listened to it again. Oh man, it's an earworm for sure.
yeah.
It's such a like once you listen to it for the first time, that's it. It's gonna be stuck in your head forever almost. Love it though. Love it.
Yeah, me too.
Second side opens up with the dangling conversation.
Yeah, this is another great hidden gem for me. I really like this song. And it's another song that I don't remember until I came back to it. And I was like, I don't remember this song. And I listened to it. I go, I probably won't remember it still until I would listen to it again because it's just not one of the songs I've listened to over and over again like some of the other ones. But really thought it was a beautiful song. Great acoustic guitar work and some orchestra music coming in this one, which I really liked. That kind of attitude. I love when they add orchestra music to music. Always helps elevate it. But yeah, I thought it was a really good song, really beautiful.
I like this song. Like I said, it's definitely a song that'll definitely grow me, but it's not one of my favorites off this album.
Mhm.
It's good, but it's not like it's
Yeah,
no sounds of silence. It's
right.
no homeward bound. It's no Cecilia. It's a good song on its own, and I quite like it, but not one of my favorites. Flowers never bend with the rainfall.
Or maybe I'm thinking about this one's orchestra music. I get these mixed up because I didn't write down any notes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I was
Might
skimming
have
through
gotten
them.
mixed up, but I can't remember which one's which. But I wrote down that I like both of them.
Yeah,
I gave both of them good scores because there's another one I thought was a good hidden gem song that I didn't really know anything until I was listening to it. And yeah, another just absolutely beautiful song by, I say mostly by, seems like they're mostly by Paul Simon. Because he seems like he's mostly the lead singer and obviously he's the main songwriter and arranger and everything. So, and Garfunkel comes in with the great, harmonies on it. Yeah, I thought it was a good song.
yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. I don't have a whole lot to say about these 2 tracks, but they're
Yeah,
nice listens. I'm never gonna be like, oh, turn this off. But I'm not gonna. It's not It's not the most memorable
yeah,
out of their whole catalog. It's good, but it's not perfect.
yeah.
Next track on the album, I don't know if we're gonna be agreeing on it or disagreeing on it. A simple desultory prolific, or how I was. It's such a long title. I have to like wait for the title to show up. Hold on. Simple desultory prolific, or how I was Robert McNaird into submission. Or I could have read it off the LP. Yeah, a simple desultory prolific, or how is Robert McNaird into submission. That is a tough one. And you thought the big bright green
Yeah,
pudding was a tongue twister. Oh my god.
yeah.
Oh my god. What do you think about the track though?
Wow, this was a strange one to me. He obviously was what's the word? I mean, he was doing like a Bob Dylan impression, wasn't he, on this album?
He was.
I
He
was listening
was.
like, what is going on here? It doesn't sound anything like a normal Simon Garfunkel song. I was like, this sounds like Bob Dylan. Like, and he even mentions Bob Dylan, I think, in the song. He says something about Dylan.
Yeah.
Uh,
When you say
about
Dylan, he thinks about Dylan Thomas,
things about Dylan Thomas, and I'm
whoever
like,
he was. The
eh,
man ain't got no culture, but it's all right, Mom. Everybody must get
let's get stoned, which is the
stoned.
Bob Dylan lyric or whatever. Yeah, so it's a Bob Dylan lyric. He even mentions Art Garfunkel in the song. It was a very Bob Dylan-ish style, as I my favorite Bob Dylan album is Another Side of Bob Dylan, which I have. And Bob Dylan has songs that sound exactly like this song. This is like early Bob Dylan style. Uh, it has a little bit of a comedic effect to it. And he's, Bob Dylan, he doesn't like sing great melody. I mean, he doesn't sing like great. He sometimes almost sings some of his songs, but it's Bob Dylan, so it fits.
Yeah.
So it's interesting hearing Paul Simon kind of doing this Bob Dylan-ish type song, and the way he sang it. Overall, I liked it. I thought it was a fine song. It's not one of the strongest ones on here. It definitely was kind of funny and interesting in a way that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, it's a very fun song. If you want to listen to a version that's really similar to like Bob Dylan's acoustic side, Paul Simon made an acoustic version on his first album.
Mm-hmm.
It's very completely different from this version. It's not electric. It's completely acoustic. It's actually really good. I've
Yeah, they're throwing this electric guitar in there, don't they? In this one,
yeah,
fuzzy sound to it or something.
What's up?
It has like a fuzzy sound to it.
It does. It does.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And one of my favorite parts was when he was like, "I'm been rolling stone and beetle till I'm blind." What a great song. It's one of my favorites off the album. I'm not gonna spoil it, I'm not gonna spoil where it's on the list, but it's in my top 5.
It's okay.
Okay, for Emily, Whenever I May Find Her.
Yeah, another great song. I really like this song. I have a younger sister named Emily, so I like the name Emily right away. First time I heard the song first on a live version or something. Like it was like a greatest hits album, but some of the songs were live, and this was one of the live songs on the album, and it's mostly just Art Garfunkel singing, almost just him and maybe the acoustic guitar or something like that. It's just beautiful, and it's one of my favorite Art Garfunkel led songs. In fact, I can't think of too many. Just this and Bridge Over Troubled Waters, of course, is the really great one. But Art Garfunkel has such a great voice, so it was really great hearing him kind of lead. I feel like Paul Simon leads pretty much every song except for this one. It feels like I like that Garfunkel kind of got a chance, and it's a beautiful song, and I thought Garfunkel sang really great on it.
I mean, he also sings on Frank Lloyd Wright off the Troubled Water album as well.
I like that one too, but
yeah, it's not the best though.
Yeah,
probably my least favorite of his tracks. Yeah, this is quite good. I'm sort of like you. I'm sort of in the middle on this track, like compared to his three other his 3 lead song tracks. This song, Frank Lloyd Wright, and Bridge Over Troubled Water. Obviously, Bridge Over Troubled Water is up top, but this one's really good too. I quite like it. It's not in my top 5, but it's definitely one of my favorites off this album. Okay, second last track on the album, A Poem on the Underground Wall.
Yeah, this is another one that it was good. I liked it. It seemed kind of short though, and it just kind of it came and went. And I don't know. I just after having all these great songs, and then this is kind of towards the end. It's somewhat forgettable, but yeah, I enjoyed it fine, but it's not one I remember very well.
Yeah, I agree. There's probably some first generation Simon and Garfunkel fan right now, really mad at us saying this, but it's definitely a song that I could listen to, and then a week after you'd be like, "Hey, how does Poem on Underground Wall go?" And I'd be like, "I have no clue."
Yeah, I feel like it get lost in all the songs for me. I don't know.
That's my biggest problem with this album is that a lot of the songs are very similar to one another, and I mean that could be everyone else's problem with Wednesday Morning 3 a.m. why they would put that one so low on their list, but I just happen to have more of a connection with that, and I heard that album so much where every song to me I recognize it, but Yeah, that's my biggest problem with this album is that every song is very similar to one another. Like not all of them, but a good chunk of it is like if you tell me like, oh, how does this song go, and I'm be like, I don't know, but maybe that's because I'm not as
Yeah,
familiar with it. Who knows? Yeah, it's a good song, just not great. Last track on the album though, 7 o'clock News, Silent Night.
yeah. What an interesting track. A Christmas classic, Silent Night. One of my favorite Christmas songs, Silent Night. I mean, it's a beautiful song by itself, and then you throw in Simon Garfunkel's harmonies, and I mean, it's one of the best maybe versions of Silent Night that you can get. And then you throw in this twist of news, news announcements or whatever. I guess that was going on at the time, because I think they mentioned uh, like Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination maybe in here.
Yeah, it's like they name a bunch of stuff that was going on,
Yeah,
like JFK, I think.
and then
Nixon, I think. I forget because I've heard this track in so long. Like I remember it being good, so I didn't skim on that track. But I know it's just like a bunch of stuff that was going on around that time, like a
yeah,
bunch of depressing stuff.
yeah, it's kind of sad news, kind of played over Silent Night, which is interesting. Kind of uh, I don't know what do you call that.
Eye opening almost.
It's such a beautiful song, but it's has a you know I mean it's about a happy thing. It's about Jesus or whatever, which is happy. But
Yeah,
the song itself is a little more melancholy, I guess is the name I would use for it.
yeah, yeah. I'll read what they said on the back of the album. And then there is 7 o'clock News, Silent Night. I will not tell you in advance what goes on here. My first hearing of it brought chills to me spine and tears to my eyes. It is one of the most effective statements about the world today that I've ever heard. So that right there should tell say like someone who was live around this time how they
Mm-hmm.
felt about this track. So yeah, I think it's a brilliant track. Just barely isn't in the top five. I wish it was, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just barely didn't get there. But still a great track. Uh, yeah. Top five tracks, a dishonorable track or an honorable track if you don't think there's any dishonorable tracks in it, and then a top 10. I mean, not a top 10 up
Right.
rating.
Yeah. Number 5 for me is Cloudy. Like I said, probably my favorite hidden gem song on here. Pretty much for me. Number 4 is for Emily, Wherever I May Find Her. 3, the 59th Street Bridge song, Feeling Groovy. Number 2, Homeward Bound. And then number 1, Scarborough Fair / Canticle is my favorite. Which, interesting, Scarborough Fair is the first song on the album. My least favorite song is the second song on the album, which is Patterns, which is the only song I just didn't care for. Everything else had something to it that I kind of liked or loved, except for that one. uh, yeah, I'm giving it a really high score. I really love this album, and I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10. I think I gave Sound of Silence maybe a 9 out of 10. And I like this even better. So I give it, really high score. My highest scores I give on this, I think.
Yeah. Great score. My top five, my number five is going to be Scarborough Fair. What a fantastic track. I love that track. Nothing bad to say. None of these five tracks I could say anything wrong with them. Uh, number four, 59th Street Bridge song. Another fantastic track. Number three, the Big Bright Green Pleasure Machine. Number two, I'm have to agree with you on your number two spot, Homeward Bound. That's my second favorite track as well. And my favorite track on the album is A Simple Desultory Prolific.
It
I
is
think I say all that gibberish after the stuff. And I'm gonna have to agree with you on the dishonorable track Patterns. I always try to give that track a chance, but I don't know. It's just and my album rating's gonna be lower than yours. It's gonna be 8.75 out of 10. And my only problem is my thing is that it has Patterns on it, which is one of my least favorite Simon & Garfunkel albums. album's songs.
Yeah.
Plus, what I said before with a lot of the songs sounding very similar, not similar, but like just the unmemorableness of it sort of brings it down. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, there's 3 big hit songs on here that I absolutely love. Of course, I had to, and then it had like maybe 5. I thought 5 or 6 really good, like almost hidden gem songs that I don't hear as much, and so that's why it's so high on my list.
Yeah, I agree that it's like a lot of great stuff on here, but the unmemorable stuff and patterns being one of my least favorite, probably my least favorite besides old people voices. I don't really consider that to be a Simon Garfunkel. I
Yeah,
just
that's a tough one.
yeah, but besides old people voices, this is probably my least favorite Simon Garfunkel song. So
It feels like a lot of the big hits are on the first side, then, right?
yeah, it was very
I noticed.
it's very front loaded in terms
Yeah,
of
it's very front loaded. Yeah, it's interesting.
doesn't mean it has all the best. It doesn't mean it has best songs on it, but it's definitely if you want to hear all the hits on the album,
Yeah,
definitely listen just the first side. What else? Yeah, patterns not being the best. It I don't know. I want to I really want to love this album as much as everyone else does because I know this is a fan favorite. I know a lot of people might say this is their best album, better than Bookends and
oh,
Bridge Over
really?
Troubled Water. It's just a fan favorite Simon Garfunkel record. I've never done that. I haven't. I don't think I ever will. I don't know. But not only that, but my album rating would be would be even more lower if Homeward Bound wasn't on it. Like if we were reviewing the UK version of this album, it
Yeah,
would be a little lower because
yeah.
Homeward Bound brings it up a
That's true.
couple of notches.
Yeah, I think I had this my second favorite Simon Garfunkel album.
I could
Uh,
totally see it. There's a lot of great deep cuts on it. You know.
but interesting, if I re-listen to Bookends, I think I put Bookends kind of low on my list last time,
Yeah.
and recently when the last time I listened to Bookends, I kind of like, this is a really good album. I think I didn't give this enough justice. So if I listen again, maybe I'll have it higher. Who knows?
Yeah. Next. Well, of course, let me know when you're ready to do that album review. Obviously, I usually like to wait at least a week before
Yeah,
doing another review of it. But yeah, I'm excited to do Bookends, and I'm really excited to do Bridge Over Troubled Water.
and that's gonna be a what do you call it? It's just gonna be a fan fest. I don't know what you call it. On Bridge Over Troubled Water. It's gonna be like,
Yeah.
this is so good.
Yeah. Like I'm there. Like there's gonna be. I'm gonna have like very little to say in terms of negativity on that album.
Oh yeah, it's
It's
hard
just
to
a perfect album. I mean, it's in my top 10 albums of all time.
oh, okay. It's in my top 20, I believe.
Well, it's in at least my top 20. I'm not sure where it ranks. I don't know if it is in my top 10. I know my top 5 favorite albums. My top 6 albums. I know. I know 4 of them is going to be on there at least in my top 6. Odkins, Village Green, Who Sell Out, and Deja Vu. Those 4 albums are perfect. And I know Evolution's definitely up there too. By the Hollies. Yeah, I saw your video on. I didn't say anything because I'm not familiar with the album that you posted on, but I was thinking about starting at 100 favorite albums of all time series too because
Yeah,
it's a cool idea.
yeah.
Not only that, but I wanted to do what you did with the Beatles thing with ranking all the Beatles songs, but I wanted to do that with Rush.
Rush.
You know, so like the first like 3-4 video, like 4 or 5 videos is good. I'm gonna not have as much to say, but like once I start getting to like my favorite songs by Rush, that's when things start to get better.
That's an interesting idea. I haven't thought about doing it on any other album just because, I mean, any other group just because I know the Beatles so well. So it's a little bit easier for me to do a ranking because
Yeah.
I've listened to them for so long.
If I had it, well, if I actually I might do that with the Who as well because I'm very.
I think it would be an interesting one, but gosh, there's so many
yeah.
songs, Tommy or Quadrophenia that'd be kind of hard to rank, but
Yeah, not only that, but like they had the Who had so many. I didn't watch all of your Beatle ranking videos. Do you
yeah,
include the singles on there too? Like all the hits, like the singles, like the non-album singles, or are you just
yeah,
okay? I'd say because there's a lot of Who singles that weren't on Who albums.
that's
Like
true. Yeah,
Substitute, I'm a Boy, Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere. I
Magic
can't explain.
Bus wasn't
Magic
really on an
Bus.
album, right? Yeah.
Well, it was technically it's not an album. It's me and Garrett consider it to be like Magical Mystery Tour because it was released as an album in the US, but it wasn't released in there in the UK. But me and Garrett consider it to be a Who album, but technically it's not.
Well, I'm going through the Who albums, and I counted 10 studio albums is what I counted.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's My Generation, a quick one. The Who Sell Out, Tommy, Who's Next, Quadrophenia, Who by Numbers, Who Are You, Face Dances, It's
Yeah.
Hard, and well, those are the 10 albums
And that I
before they released the two out. Like they have two albums in the 2000s, Endless Wire
they do.
and Who. I don't consider those Who albums. Well, they are Who albums, but it should just be renamed Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend because without Ant Whistle and Keith Moon,
Yeah.
really the Who.
Yeah.
Like they were to me, they were able to kind of get away with it with just Keith Moon not being there. But once my favorite member passed away and they kept going on without him, that's when I started losing interest. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah. Yeah, that's true. There would be a lot of songs then, I guess. Yeah. Like I had, I think the Beatles, I counted 213 songs. I think I ranked in total, but I also
around there.
I ranked "Free as a Bird" and "Real Love" in my list, even though they were written or they were produced way after Lennon died. I still counted because Lennon's voice is on the record, so I counted them.
Still good songs though.
So. I counted them as Beatles singles.
Yeah, they're good though. I like them.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
Well, before we continue talking, I'm just gonna end off the video. Thank you for watching, guys. We went on a little tangent. We're gonna keep talking a little bit more, but hope you guys enjoy the video and see you guys on the next one. So long.